There's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.
Yeah. Hola, buen día, alegría, manzanilla with the Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast. And on the podcast, you won't have seen that wonderful meme of Richard Pryor, the first of our Portuguese celebrities. Any other word plays like that, most gratefully received. Why don't you try me on my email address? That is carl@theportugalclub.com. It would appear on the screen this morning. That's because we had an amazing conversation last night with John Heimbach in Colorado with an introduction to investing, a beginner's guide to investing, which might be useful for those of you who are retiring and becoming expats and want to have, I was going to say a little bit of a flutter on the stock market. That is not how you do it. It's not about gambling. It's about taking a prudent and sensible approach to amassing wealth and growing wealth over the longer term. Very fascinating conversation with John, a little bit about his background and how he got into it and what his approach is, which helped him compound 12% pretty much on average over a number of decades and helped him to retire early. Fascinating discussion. Thank you very much. I see Jean. Are you ready to join us, Mrs. M? Do you want the lighting in the back of the shot? You're all about the tinsel, aren't you? And not about what. Let me just. I can't. I'm not sure if I can.
I can't see.
Can't hear you either. I can hear you now. And let's see if we can see you. Oh, that's okay. That's really. You look fantastic. A vision of loveliness on the screen this morning. How about that? Oh, we got a bit of solstice. A few solstice extras that came in late yesterday.
Really?
Really good video knocking about as well that involves Jesus and Santa Claus and pagans. I'm not sure if I can spin it in. I'll probably get myself a copyright strike for doing something like that.
I can't wait
but
to
it was
see
what
that
it was what Penny was. Yeah, true. Oh, go on. People are saying. It was what Penny was trying to send us yesterday. It's hilarious. Jean, may I begin by thanking you so much. Hold on a minute. Let's get a bon dia alegria from you. Indeed, my tap flight is 2 weeks from today. Thank you very much for your generosity that delighted us yesterday evening. We had a fantastic day yesterday, and that really was the cherry on the cake to receive your lovely gift contribution towards the running costs of the Good Morning Portugal. It's not just a show; it's an enterprise. It's a project. It's a community, isn't it? What have you seen?
I wondered why I couldn't see any of these.
What's going on for you today?
I'm in the wrong show.
Oh, you're watching an old show, are you?
I'm just sat in an ended show.
Very good.
Oh, did you know there was a late message that came in for you from an old friend?
You're about to tell us.
An old friend, I think.
Old in the chronological sense. I think
I have no idea.
Tilt your microphone up. Now undo something, but rather than just manhandling it. Oh no, not that one. Oh gosh, this could be interesting. This could start another domestic that we had yesterday. Now, Suze was a little bit upset when Mummy and Daddy started arguing yesterday.
Really? Oh no, I'm so sorry,
Suze. We didn't mean to trigger any childhood memories for people, did we? When you had a right old go at me yesterday.
It wasn't a right old go at you.
No, it wasn't, folks. She's capable of much more than that. And so am I, by the way.
Yeah,
we've had some of the worst what would we call them? Exchanges, ding-dongs in the last month than ever before.
Yeah, we have.
And I would say also that our relationship hasn't been better as well.
Yeah, we've been going through a big clearing process, and I think that's important. Like whenever things change, I think it's quite normal to sort of reassert your boundaries, your resentments, the things that aren't quite going very well, and just get to the bottom of it.
Yes.
But stick around.
But now I can't find. Maybe I dreamt it because I had a fit for a night, didn't I?
Oh my goodness. I think that's why I've gone into the wrong show this morning. Because
Well, you only had half an hour's sleep.
I didn't get much sleep last night.
Right. Still
Because
sounding sexy. Gotta
oh,
say.
thank you.
Yeah.
Because like the kids crawled into our bed last night. And you know what kids are like? They start like
Starfishing.
So they
Yeah.
start like putting out their arms and legs. And so I was thinking, oh, where's Carl? I looked around and he was in one of the kids' beds on the bottom bunk, fast asleep.
Yes.
And I went back to sleep and I just managed to kind of find a comfortable position. And then there was this hellish sound and Carl was screaming in his sleep, like really loud scream.
I was screaming in my
Yeah,
sleep.
yeah,
Right.
actually screaming.
Really?
Yeah.
That must have sounded pretty
And
terrible.
here's the worrying thing is the kids didn't even
Kids
wake
aren't
up.
bothered, are they? They don't care. Right.
But I got out of bed and I was like, are you okay?
Yes.
Are you okay?
Yeah, and you very sweetly brought me. You asked me if I wanted a cup of tea. It must have been really
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah,
Okay.
I really want, I was so worried about you because it was
Right.
obviously a horrible nightmare.
Yes.
That's how it sounded. Although I didn't really rush back with a cup of tea or the water. I sat downstairs and calmed down.
Did you?
Yeah. But anyway,
so
I
stressful.
mentioned there's this message from someone that says, hello, Carl.
Mhm.
Best wishes for the season and new year. I was in Sheffield last month
Who's this?
and was overwhelmed with memories, including thoughts of you.
Really? Who is that?
I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to guess who it is.
Are you going to give me some clues? That's not enough to go on.
Well,
I have a number of
first
friends
clue is I don't know this name.
That's so unhelpful.
So it's one of your Sheffield pals that I've not met before.
Okay, all right. Let's tease and excite everybody with what we've got coming up this morning.
I wondered where Solomon had got this pen from.
Okay.
I saw our youngest walking around with one of these wipeable pens. And
Yes.
I now know where they came from.
And isn't it funny when a child has a wipeable pen, they always find the surface upon which it is not wipeable from. That's what he would have been doing. So apologies to Nelson if he's found some hieroglyphics in a part of his cafe.
Yeah, I'm sure
that will be our youngest wandering around with a so-called wipeable pen. So where were we? We had a number of tangents and diversions there. Let me complete my thanks to Jean. Very, very generous, very kind, Jean. Really appreciate that. And you, and looking forward to meeting you soon, clearly, from what we can glean from your messages and what we've learned in the last few days, that you're on your way to Portugal, which is fantastic. And to Jeff as well, Jeff Jackson, thank you very much for your continued support as well. And everybody who chips in and helps with the running costs of the show, really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Did you hear that beep?
Are you in the right show now?
I'm actually in the right show now.
That's great.
But you know what?
Done.
I quite liked
Progress.
that ended show because I wasn't getting kicked out of it. That's just because I was never in it in the first place.
Okay, so you're enjoying old shows live.
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, I have a number of. Let's finish off with a number of solstice things, shall we?
Yeah.
Our friend Fee in Devon, I think, posted this that caught my eye. Katia Lima also posted up something very beautiful with the Portuguese connection. Let me just quickly name check everybody before we do that. So James is here, Coach Turner's here, Jean's here, T-Duck as well. Good morning to you. Who else is lurking? We know there are other lurkers. Jess is here. Rugby Colin is here. Nightmares, the last time I invite you around. And no connection there, Rugby Colin. Bon dia from Bob as well. Everyone, my kids' mom couldn't find me one morning and I was sound asleep with Jimmy in his crib. Now, that's not our dog Jimmy, is it?
I hope not.
Can't possibly be.
I tell you what,
Which
if he
Jimmy?
is...
Is that one of your kids, Jimmy, there, Bob? I wonder. Must be. That's incredible.
Well, here's the funny thing. When I did actually come back to bed last night with this pint of water for Carl,
yes,
I got back into
this one here that I'm drinking now.
I got back into bed and tried to find a comfortable shape. I even woke the kids up and said, "You guys, you're awful.
Yes,
stop moving around."
Slept through that as well,
and they slept through that. And so in the end, I got into bed, top and tail, the two of us, in a single bed.
Oh, that was you and me, wasn't it? By the end of it.
Did you think that was another child?
Oh, it was lovely. It was lovely.
It was so warm, but like I was sleeping.
Who doesn't like a reverse spoon when you're semi-conscious?
So Carl and I had each other's feet in each other's faces.
It was
last
beautiful.
Night. It was very intimate.
Are we sharing too much of our personal life? Because I can't find the comment Sue's made about I got upset when I saw you guys arguing yesterday. But then, I think it might be on WhatsApp. That's why, not a public comment. And maybe that in that case, you didn't want me to share it or read it out.
Oh
But
dear.
it's too late now.
Oh.
I had an early doctor's appointment. That's why she wasn't joining us yesterday to watch the replay. And at first, relationship stuff got me upset. But said to
Oh.
myself, I trust this couple to sort it out.
Oh.
Isn't that really
Do
fantastic?
you know,
that?
we do, you know, kind of joke around. We get on much better than
Well, we
do
wouldn't
on
do it if we
screen.
didn't think we were capable of
Yeah.
sorting it out as well.
And
that, I mean,
and quite often after the show, I said, you know, I say things like, "You're not really sensitive about where you put the toys, are you?"
yes, I so am. Yes, but fortunately, and what a fantastic meetup yesterday. Really good fun at the meetup. So many people turned up who I wasn't expecting, and I wasn't expecting so many people to be there. And the people who turned up were absolutely wonderful, unexpected items in the bagging area, so to speak. Some real treasures.
Lots of old friends.
Old friends, new friends. It was lovely. People who I've only known from the digital global interface, the internet, and seeing people in real life, and I think people feeling a little bit festive, and it was just such a good atmosphere. We were there for what, 4 hours? Yesterday, I think maybe more. And we met, we talked to people who weren't part of the meetup as well, as we normally do. Met some new people from America who are over from New York. Hello to you, and thank you, Carlos. Carlos bought us all lunch as well. He was very generous and kind yesterday.
Yeah.
And Lisa bought me this. Let's Get Real, Bro, a card game for guys to connect, dig deep, and get real. Have you noticed any difference in me since I've got real?
Well, I mean, I think maybe that game sort of unsettled some of your unconscious mind, and that's what happened in your. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's
unless
like
it was
a
the
healer's
kebab.
deck.
It was the game or the kebab. Now, this is good. And I'm going to play this one evening. We're going to have our own little kind of man cave spin-off, retro man cave, vintage man cave for the older specimens, I think, and play Let's Get Real, Bro, with this card that asks you challenging questions, that probes your inner depths. Would you like to ask me one now?
Have
a little rummage.
Let's ask.
Well, you don't mind talking about your feelings, do you?
Oh gosh, no.
Exactly. Whereas
well,
the fellas,
I'm a bit more mindful now because I don't want to upset people. You know, like I don't want to upset Suze. Poor Suze.
Yeah, we didn't mean to cause any upset with our ding dong that we were having live on air yesterday.
Well,
and of all things
really
about flipping tidying up or not,
I don't think it was a real ding dong.
You don't? Okay, who doesn't like a ding dong first thing in the morning? Okay.
Or at Christmas.
Victoria's in as well. And Marcus, good morning to you, Marcus. Felicia Natal, Bosch Fresh Dish. Bueno. I'm enjoying our exchange on Facebook as well, Marcus. I'm so glad we were able to talk openly and freely. And so thank you. I just wanted to acknowledge you because you can have conversations on social media, can't you? You can have conversations here, and it's like existing in different realms, multiple personalities almost. So it's very good to talking to you there as it is here. And who doesn't like their inner depths probed first thing in the morning? Ooh.
So do you know who your Sheffield is? Yet?
No, I don't. I've no idea. I can't. The clues are rubbish so far.
Okay, next clue.
Okay.
The first name begins with a B.
A
B.
So it wouldn't be Brab because he actually lives there.
No, and we actually both know him.
So somebody went to Sheffield and had memories of us,
of you,
of me being in Sheffield.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I thought I'd done my best to get rid of all of those from the internet. Okay. Are you any older than the actual man cave? Now, I think of myself as a man cave senior, but I'm probably not.
What do you mean? Are you any older than the actual man cave?
Well, I think of.
Well, like, are you the eldest? Elder?
I don't think I'm the oldest there. No, I don't think so. And I imagine most of them to be younger than me, but it may not be the case, as I'm finding out here. They're just immature.
I had a lovely conversation with a man caver last night. We had a man caver for tea.
we couldn't eat a whole one, so we're frying him up for breakfast this morning. The rest, a few potatoes.
We might get a nice stock from him as well.
And wasn't that because so Garvo and Linda were at the meetup and joined us for dinner last night?
Yeah, that was lovely.
It was superb.
Really nice.
Really great to see you both too. So thanks everybody for a lovely day yesterday.
They were wearing Minnie's Christmas. Minnie made little crowns for everybody.
Did she?
Yeah, out of her little bricky type things.
Happy memories that children make, and with their funny improvisations.
Okay, right.
Okay, first, there are 3 levels of Get Real Bro cards. There's
Oh.
gentle probing. It doesn't. No, that's fine. It's fine.
What colours? Which colours? Which?
No, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
I will go with what fate throws my way.
Okay.
As I do every
tell me
morning
when.
here.
Hang on. I'm just.
And I do like the idea of having
tell
my
me when.
inner depth probe. Thank you very much, Marcus. Victoria, whilst you're
Can you tell me
sensing a
when?
card, what do you mean? Sounds
I'm
like our love life now. No, that's what I say to you, isn't it? We have selected. We have selected our bacalhau recipe.
Okay, I've just chosen.
Hold on, no. Important news coming in. We have selected our bacalhau recipe for Christmas Day. Our bacalhau gratinado. It's with bechamel. Who doesn't like a bechamel on Christmas Day? Potato, onion, and topped with Parmigiano Reggiano. Now that's
sounds right good. That does.
Well, although it does sound traditional, ordinarily you'd have the boiled bacalhau on Christmas Eve. And I'm not being fussy or picky, and we will find out more about the sort of Christmas you don't find out about in the tourist guides and on the internet from Maria João Silva and other interesting things, because she's a fascinating woman and she'll be with us in about 20 minutes or so. So have you picked me a card?
Yes, I
have.
Any card. And I really liked it because PT Country Bear sort of, also said, who doesn't like their inner depths probed first thing in the morning as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I've mentioned that twice already this morning.
Yeah.
And it's you that gets concerned about when I read the comments again.
Yeah, I didn't put it on the screen though.
Okay,
but no, fair play.
Right.
Okay, it's a level 2 card, so it's pretty real.
Are you going to hold it up to the camera so everyone can see it?
Well, I don't know if they will. It might, won't it just get delayed?
No, there it is. It's you that gets delayed, not what you put up on the screen.
So, if your life was a book, what would be the name of the current chapter you're on and why?
Oh my God! Can I have that card, please?
Also, this is my question. Who would be playing you?
No.
Answers on a postcard, please.
All right, here we go. Here's the card, so others can answer this morning. And I think we're going to have a little season of this. It's a shame tomorrow's the last show of the year, because I could do this for the next 2 weeks. Quite frankly,
more than that. Look how many
cards. Look at those. Look how thick that pack of cards. That's a big deck you've got. There.
It's
deck.
It's like.
Or if you're
who doesn't like a big deck in the hand in the first thing in the morning?
That's a big dick that you're holding there. If your life was a book, what would be the name of the current chapter you're on? Why is the supplementary question there? And actually, just on that theme, this current chapter could be called Why Oh Why Oh Why. No, this chapter is. Do you know what this chapter's called?
I know what my chapter's called.
This is not about you.
Oh, sorry.
This is about me getting to grips with my feelings and inner depths here. But yes, we will come back to you, of course, Mrs. M. My current chapter is, whoa, finally, it's starting to make sense.
Okay, mine. I'll ask you about that in a second.
Yeah.
Mine is called Turnaround, or Wow, what more is possible?
Very good. Upbeat.
So come on, tell me yours. What's the chapter about?
Whoa,
finally,
it's all making sense.
Yeah.
Well, what it says on the tin there, what it says on the chapter heading, that's where I feel like I'm at the moment. Things. Well, okay, to put a finer point on it, the spiritual. We don't want to lose a card, do we? That could be key in somebody's therapy.
Yes,
some
exactly.
way down the line.
Do you know what? I'm meeting up with 2 clients today, video calls.
I hope they're not watching this.
I don't think they will be.
Okay, all right. My chapter name, 11.
11. Interesting.
Why is that? I wonder. Power numbers, though, right, Mrs. M?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So come on, tell me about your chapter.
I've always had a little bit of an interest in the spiritual matters of life, and I've been a keen student, and I've been reading, all these spiritual teachers and trying to be a spiritual teacher as well, which needs a laughter jingle. Which
we don't have that, do we?
We don't seem to have a laughter. We are our own laughter here. And all of those things that seemed to make sense and resonated on a kind of rational mental level, I feel like are finally being embodied.
Mm-hmm.
And what does it mean when your voice is disappearing, when you're trying to say something profound?
It's kind of like you're
not authentic, maybe.
No, maybe we're
struggling.
Maybe we're just getting to the bit where people feel the resonance of your presence rather than actually listen to your words. Like you're so authentic that people just feel
don't
it.
even need to say it.
Don't even need to say it.
My goodness. Well, it's come out anyway, and yes, it is the embodiment time.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people are do
Rolling
have
their eyebrows,
their suspicions.
their eyeballs.
No, that's just you. A lot of people do have their little maxims about old age and becoming an elder. In fact, many people don't even call it becoming an elder; they just call it getting old, don't they?
Yeah,
And I would hope that is the gift of aging, is that you embody what you have thought to be true and believed throughout life.
that's fair enough.
You can
yeah.
embody it and share it with people and reflect whether they want to hear it or not. Okay, Marcus, this chapter is called Living Underwater. Oh dear. Or it might just be called Wet, depending on what kind of book this is.
I love
What happened
that.
to our erotic novel? James, where
Who
he was
was writing the erotic novel? I mean, that was before.
before your time on
Yeah,
the show.
before my
It
time.
was, yeah.
That's a shame because I could have really contributed to that one.
You could have, and it's not too late. Yeah, we didn't get round to writing it, and there are some scribbled notes somewhere with our erotic novel. Those were the days. Bon dia, Carling Gubbers from from wet to
Oh, that's good.
mild. Sorry to hear about that, Marcus. I hope you're
Yeah.
able to dry out at some point soon.
What is it, like a roof infraction or something?
Yeah,
Or-
it's an old building, and there's moisture coming through.
Oh,
Yeah, we know about that, don't we?
we really
Moisture
do.
coming through.
Yeah.
7 degrees in Belfast, and I've got to get this sweepstake payment sorted out to you. Apologies for that. To get a bit cold for the weekend, possibly snow late Christmas Day.
Oh, that'd be
in
nice.
Belfast, yes. That is lovely. Okay. Must catch up with these solstice things now. First of which is Katia Lima's picture. That's a very solstice-y picture that we'll see on your screen
Yeah,
at
I
some
can't see
point.
it just yet.
And it is of Katia Lima, one of our regular correspondents here on the show. Have you found another card? It can't be seen at the moment. Hold that card. We'll come back to that. It can't be seen because Katia Lima's on the screen at the moment.
Oh.
Right. Okay. I so wish you could see what was going on, and we will organise that at some point to happen. But here she is, holding a tea light, I think, in a kind of solstice-y way. Oh, and that was I had it all set up and ready to go on Facebook, but then I went and looked at something else. So Katia Lima, she posts up great memes and funnies every day, and this picture went with the words yesterday. And I can do Portuguese here for you. No ciclo eterno das mudáveis coisas. Novo inverno após novo outono volva. A diferenteira com a mesma maneira.
Now, I was trying to
Keep up.
visualize what that looked like is being said and also
Yes.
translate at the same time.
Yes.
And then because it was much longer than I was anticipating, I completely lost the lot.
As the actress did to the bishop.
Yes.
Ooh, that was longer than I was anticipating. Okay, all right. So I'm putting it on the screen now. And the words are, well, I read the Portuguese, the translation, and it is her own translation from Fernando Pessoa, the great
Oh, that's
literary
beautiful.
giant of Portugal, who wrote in this case under the name of Ricardo Reis, one of his heteronyms. And her translation is in the eternal cycle of changeable things.
Yeah.
New winter after new autumn returns to the different earth in the same way.
Wow.
Isn't it nice? So things kind of stay the same, but they're different.
Yeah.
And that is the story of us, isn't it? That is the story.
What a beautiful photo.
Yeah,
It's so
absolutely. You're
gorgeous.
finally getting to see it on the screen there.
Finally.
So we do love her paganness, if I can call it that. I hope she's not offended by that. But she is one of our fantastic Indie Portugal Thursdays guests, regulars, as is Maria João Silva, who's joining us this morning as well. So thank you, Katia. And I will make sure that goes up onto the website, into the blogging section of our website, because that's well, beautiful and poignant. Also, Mrs. M, you've been distracted by something. I can tell you've gone very quiet. This, on the shortest day came, the shortest day came and the year died. We were saying that, weren't we? It's actually New Year yesterday as well.
Yeah.
In a sense. And everywhere down the centuries of the snow white world came people singing, dancing to drive the dark away. They lighted candles, just as Katia Lima did there, in the winter trees. They hung their what's that? They hung their homes with evergreen. So these are the origins of the Christmas tree, aren't they? With the lighted candles in the winter trees. They hung their, I thought that said women. They hung their homes. It's difficult with these Gothic typefaces sometimes. They hung their homes with evergreen. That's what threw me there. They burned beseeching fires all night long to keep the year alive. And when the New Year's sunshine blazed awake, they shouted, reveling through all the frosty ages. You can hear them echoing behind us. Listen. All the long echoes sing the same delight. This shortest day, he promises. Sorry, no, as promised. I should have read this before, shouldn't I?
Oh,
And
you're
it's
doing
tiny.
so well.
I was
It
doing
sounded
so.
really good.
Okay.
That was my listening phase.
Oh, excellent.
Ah.
Okay, good. Okay, let me complete this last bit.
As promise wakens in his sleep, in the sleeping lands, they carol,
Ooh,
feast,
yes.
give thanks,
Mm.
and dearly love their friends and hope for peace. And so do we here, now, this year, and every year.
Welcome Yule. Isn't that beautiful?
It's beautiful.
That is. I'm sorry I messed it up, but you get the gist there.
Did I
It's
miss
on the
out a
screen.
line?
No, I messed it up. I was really getting into it, and then the Gothic typeface,
Yes.
where it said, "What is it? He promise wakens in the sleeping land, or as promise. No, as promise wakens in the sleeping land. They carol, feast, give thanks, and dearly love their friends." Isn't that a lovely line? They dearly love their friends and hope for peace, and so do we here now, this year, every year, and every year. Welcome Yule. And I remember when my mum and dad ran a pub, they used to give away things at Christmas, like a promotional thing, a diary or something like that. And one of them, I think, one year was "Have a cool Yule." My father wished everybody, so that always reminds me of him. That word Yule. There you go. I think that completes on the solstice business.
That's really nice.
Really,
do you know what?
listening
to, like, obviously I didn't have that card in front of me that I could see, but as I was listening to how the villagers like chase away the dark, it reminded me of when I lived in Bali. Did I mention?
You may have mentioned it
once or twice.
Yes.
They've got this lovely festival, which is a New Year's festival.
Yeah.
Which takes place. I think it's the first new moon of the astrological year. So I think it's the first new moon, like March, April time, when it's the new moon in Aries. I think so. I might be wrong, but it's around the time of the spring equinox. Anyway, what they do is like for a month or so before, you'll see all of the Indonesians just being really, really industrious, building things out of bamboo and making all these seasonings and spices and cooking lovely food.
Great.
And playing on their gamelan, getting their music right and stuff. And then what
playing on their what?
Their gamelan, which is like this beautiful sounding instrument.
Yeah, okay.
So they're playing with their instruments.
What are you doing in there?
And over and over. Yeah, and it's beautiful. You hear it like 3 o'clock in the morning, and there's some guys drinking and playing the gamelan late at night. Yeah. Anyway, the festival of Nyepi itself is they make these huge, ginormous demons. These like demon sort of like constructions out of bamboo, and they paint them to make them as realistic as possible. They're actually quite gruesome in places. And then at the time of Nyepi, they take all of them to the far shore. So they all parade through town with their demons, and they take them off. And I think the idea is to set fire to them, or put them on a boat and push them out to sea and set fire to them. But the idea is that all the demons get burnt to start their new year, and then everyone goes home, and they put all their shutters down. They aren't allowed to be seen the next day, so everybody hides.
Oh, just in case the demons come back.
Yes. Right. So if there are any remaining demons, they think that all the humans have gone. And then the demons...
Nothing to see here.
And then all the demons clear off, if there are any remaining ones.
Very good.
And you can't buy anything, you can't cook anything, you just have to be like really do nothing.
Wow.
And it was spectacular, but they're really quite scary, these things, with really sort of like phallic and bloody and all sorts. They make them as gruesome as possible.
So the phallus is associated with evil in Bali, is it? Can understand why.
I don't know, but they just try to make it as kind of memorable and graphic as possible,
poignant and impressive.
But there's this tremendous sense of release, and it's not quite the solstice, but like from dark to light is a definite.
I think we
theme.
need these rhythms. And it's a shame
Yeah.
when the whole year gets homogenized into just one long flow of consumption.
Anyway, I did actually pick out a another card
Yes.
completely intuitively. And from one,
That's how you live.
yes, it is.
Yeah,
And
cool.
no word of a lie.
What's
You were
happened?
talking about phalluses. Can you guys see this?
Yes, describe the most awkward boner you've ever had. What kind of disgusting game is this? Okay.
Now, I can't really. I mean, I can't answer this for myself.
It's not designed for you. It's designed for men.
That's why it's called Let's Get Real, Bro.
Bro.
Okay.
Bro is the clue.
Yeah. Okay.
Possibly there, isn't it? A card game for guys to connect, dig deep, and get real.
And this is a level
not
one.
answering that.
This is a level one.
Is it?
A kind of real.
Okay. Another card. Move on. While you're doing that, let's look at some deep thoughts.
They're the first ones on.
Is that
and
any
then
better?
level 3.
Oh yeah, the really
Let's get
effing
super
real.
effing real.
Yes. I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay. Why do you think we're friends? Okay, and you can see, can't you, that would be. Did you show the effing live on our live?
No, I don't
stream?
think I did. I think
you did.
Oh,
I
really?
don't think
Sorry
your
about
finger
that.
was covering the effing there.
Okay.
Why are we?
Do you know what? I
friends?
think we're all grown ups here. I think it's okay.
That's the funniest thing I've heard for ages. We're all grown ups here. Are you kidding me?
Do you know what I noticed about these cards?
Yes.
Is
No.
if it was the other way round, if it was like Let's Get Real, sis.
Yes.
The like, why do you think we're friends would be like entry level, because we're so used to talking in terms of like, oh,
The ladies.
you know,
You're my
we're really happy to share why we're friends. And then the
level 3 is why are we friends?
Yeah.
For men.
Yeah. And
Right.
and I think the level 3 would probably be the entry level for girls.
Of course.
And then the sort of like weird awkward boner moment would be a level 3 for the girls once the wine had come in.
Yeah, no. But I don't know if this game exists for women. The whole point is that men are thought to have difficulty talking about their feelings, and this is a lubricant for such conversation. I think it's
Come on,
great.
then. Why do you think we're friends, you and I?
Because we love each other, and we.
Well, why do we love each other?
Because I saw a picture of you on the internet. I thought, wow. Quite honestly, and on it went from there. And I was lucky and delighted to discover there was more to you than just which has unfolded in front of my very eyes for the last 11 years, 12 years.
Yeah,
I knew that. Okay, deep thought one. Nothing's as mean as giving a little child something useful for Christmas. That's true, isn't it? And that's Kin Hubbard, who's getting good this morning with their quotes. Frank McKinney Hubbard was an American cartoonist, humorist, and journalist. There you go. And moving from one humorist to another. Now, I don't know if T-Duck knows the origins and reputation of Bernard
That's also
Manning.
the same, like giving a wife something useful for Christmas.
What?
You know, like a Hoover or an ironing board.
Well, nothing's as mean as that. Is that where I've been going wrong all these years? Saw a great meme. It's something like, I saw a guy boasting about his giving his wife one of those special vacuum cleaners. What are they called? Dyson.
Yeah.
A Dyson vacuum cleaner on the 20th of December, I think it was. I looked at him and thought, wow, he's only got 4 days to live. Well, then, there's a man with 4 or 5 days to live. Yeah. Bernard Manning, he wasn't afraid to go there with a sexist joke or a racist joke back in the day when it strangely seemed okay in those sorts of circles. In Bernard Manning's club, I once bought my kids a set of batteries for Christmas with a note on it saying, toys not included. That is a classic Bernard Manning joke. And Bernard John Manning was an English comedian and nightclub owner, a legend in his own way, really, and a monument to a certain time in history for sure. A Portuguese saying, foi de cavalo para a burro. He went from horse to donkey, usually said when someone downgrades. Would that be in a relationship, do you think?
Could be, couldn't it?
I hope not.
Or in a job or a house.
Probably more so, yes, lifestyle.
Yeah.
Hugo dating back to the 1820s. Fado sprung up in Lisbon's bars, cafes, and restaurants and was an instant hit. Fado comes from the Latin fatum, which literally means fate, but can also mean death, which, of course, is all of our fates, ultimately, isn't it?
Do you know what? I don't even know where you're getting all these comments from.
I'm amazing, aren't I?
You are.
Coach Turner, bon dia a todos, last training day before the festivities. Coach Turner is not going for a jog on Christmas Day then. Last training day before the festivities and a little light food shopping for the missing bits and pieces. He's ahead of the game, isn't he?
Yeah, we haven't even done any Christmas shopping yet. Have we?
I have.
Have you?
Yeah, I've been buying things. I've been taking it slow and steady.
I did
route
notice you've
towards
been
Christmas.
putting away washing up liquid. haven't you?
Yes, I have. And a very special Christmas one for you.
Oh, thank you.
Bon dia Gumpers, Feliz, all heart. Bon dia Gumpers, Feliz Quinta a todos. Tudo bem from James. Morning, James. How are you, my friend? Oh, and I did see your man up video. I love our ongoing conversation about manning up. And you and I could have great fun with this game as well. I think you may well enjoy this. Let's get real, bro. When we see men of contrary character, we should turn inwards and examine ourselves. Yes.
Actually, that's what Gary and I were saying last night.
Really?
Yeah.
What were we saying?
And Linda as well. All
Yeah.
three of us.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was busy working. I had a prior engagement.
Yes,
of course,
you did.
but I'm glad
yeah.
you enjoyed yourself.
We
while I was
did. We had a great time.
Working my live streaming fingers to the bone.
Yes.
What happened then? Tell me. What was the?
No, we just did that. We were just saying.
You turned inwards instead of judging
Yeah,
others.
I mean, we were just like, well, I was asking. I don't know how the man cave came up, but I just said to him, "What do you get out of the man cave?" And like Linda was like listening in
a kind of judgmental way.
No, in a very
Right.
curious way, actually.
Right, yeah.
I would have asked maybe in a sort of judgmental way, maybe about a year ago, maybe.
Yeah. What's that all about?
Well, yeah. Why did you guys do that?
Yeah.
And Linda said, "Well, you know what? I think it's he needs his guy space." And like she really
it's not called the man cave for no reason, is it?
Yeah. And Gary said, "Well, it's just really fascinating, endlessly fascinating. You know how
Be careful, there are man cavers listening.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, he was saying I don't.
He
actually,
hates all of them.
No, he doesn't.
Joking. Right.
No, it was all very nice. And
Yes.
but he said, sometimes there are subjects that come up that are slightly threatening to everybody.
Well, I would hope so.
And that makes them sort of gulp a little bit.
Yes.
But actually, when what he was sort of expressing, and if you are listening, Gary, please forgive my sort of summation.
Because you thought what went on in our living room stayed in our living room.
Yes, if that's what you were thinking last night, it's not.
Okay.
But what in my summation of what was said, I think Gary was kind of saying, well, what I've really got from it is I now just have this kind of curiosity about okay, that's interesting. And he sits with things. So I think from the man cave, things are processed and looked at.
Despite the appearance of utter drunkenness, debauchery, and idiocy, these fellas are really reflecting on things.
I think it's wonderful.
I do. I would agree. Fantastic.
And it's still going after, quite a long time now.
Thanks in great part, of course, to Lord Gilchrist, who took up the mantle and ran with it and make sure it happens every Friday. So well done, Andy, with that. And shout out to all the man cavers here and the joy and depth that you clearly get from it.
Yeah.
A God Squad tip of the day then, a great exercise for the upper back. Start in the press up position, but steady, but with elbows on the ground. Use alternate arms, push up to full press. Full press up high and then back down. So
almost like it almost sounds like a plank that you're kind of collapsing on and pushing up from, and then alternating.
Oh, this is okay. We don't have to get ourselves into contortions trying to figure that out. I'll send a video later to show tomorrow of this, and a couple of others to wrap up the year. Have a great day. Isn't that for us? Anything to get out of peeling sprouts, eh? Male or female? This person who left that comment at the end of yesterday's show.
Oh, male.
Okay.
So
B.
He's male.
Yes.
His name begins with B.
And we have Sheffield in common.
You've got Sheffield in common.
Okay.
You come up in a lot of his memories.
Right.
And I'm not aware of that name.
All right. G. Bondi Algria. Indeed, my tap flight is 2 weeks from today. This is fantastic.
Excellent.
Look at this. That is a good way to describe it. Exhilarating and a bit terrifying at the same time. Yes. I think I missed some earlier context here. Earlier comments that comment on the screen has sprung from. Anyway, my last 2 weeks here, and I think my big TV just started dying. Has anyone else had that happen when they were leaving the country? Was their TV? Did their TV get sad?
Do you know?
Don't-
Do you know what the week?
Don't leave me, says the big TV.
The week I sold my house,
Right.
I had my sister and my nieces come to help me clear up, and the day before, my boiler packed up, and so I had no hot water, and I obviously needed to replace it. And then I put a pizza in. It was like one of the last things I did, in the kitchen, because we needed some food. Put a pizza in, and there was this explosion, and the glass in my oven shattered across my floor. So it was like, oh my goodness, there's some.
So this is not unusual, this phenomenon. Houses have feelings as well.
Yeah, and I've in every house that I've moved into, prior to meeting you, actually, I think it was always that we had some kind of leak or flood. There'll be some kind of water incident.
I think I became the leak or flood in your life.
Probably.
Yes. Bon dia from Stephen and Jess.
But I do think our relationship with the places we live in is quite profound.
More profound than we might realise.
Definitely.
Right, for sure. Okay, for the move, the big one, the big move. Nice one. And Jess asking you questions, Jean. Nice. Parabéns. Where are you going to live? And that'll be Moncarapaccio, but closer to Fuzeta than downtown Moncarapaccio.
Where is that?
In the Algarve.
Oh,
in the Algarve.
Cool.
Bon dia. So, Jimmy was the second born for Bob there, and I couldn't sneak out of the room. Sound asleep until I began to leave, curled up in the crib. Isn't that a lovely image of Bob there? Feliz Natal, boas festas, bom. I know I've read it before, Mrs. M. No need to worry. From Marcus. And the bacalhau recipe has been selected. I'm just catching up here. And I don't know, Stephen. I think I am one of the more senior man cavers. I don't know. Yes, I did. I have had my inner depths probed this morning. And it's, I think
you feel okay,
I enjoyed it. Greetings from Alvor, Silva today. It's Christmas shopping. Such fun, maybe. Paul, you don't sound like you're into it yet. Maybe a little. Why don't you have a cafe con chorino as the first thing you do? Are you giggling at more of these cards?
Yes, I am.
Right. And Victoria hasn't actually purchased the piece of bacalhau that's going to be used. You need to be on that, don't you? I think. A friend of mine just sent me a message to say he's off to see his brother in Paris. They're both mutual friends. That's a nice thing to do this time of year, isn't it? Martin off to see Johnny in Paris.
Oh, how lovely.
Yeah, that is great. Do send him my love, please, Martin, if you will. Give him a squeeze from me. That make sure you soak it. Make sure you soak your fish, Victoria.
I wondered what you were talking about. Like, give him a big squeeze and make sure you soak it.
Give it a wash. Give it a soak. I'm getting fat, says James, on all the psycho-spiritual food I've embodied. That's the chapter heading, I think, there. Do
you know what? I do think there's a lot of psychic kind of weird house things happening at the moment. When we went to that yoga studio this weekend, last weekend,
like we do.
Not to do yoga, but to do
God no,
to do that lovely plastic work workshop with Kari Prescott. Prescott,
yes.
Prescott.
And Astor Anderson, Mr. Anderson.
This toy flew off the shelf, didn't it?
Did it?
Yeah.
I didn't notice
it was
that.
It was right behind Minnie, but it was on one of these really big shelves.
Right. Oh, that's what that noise was. She didn't knock it over; it just flew off.
No,
what?
Like it was about the windowsill
Yep.
was like really heavy stone, so it's not like something you could nudge or anything. It was part of the wall.
Yeah.
And it was really thick, like about this big.
Yes. Poltergeist activity in the yoga studio.
Why? I mean, here's the thing. I don't think necessarily it's poltergeist activity. It's the energies of people. Because, like, when I was growing up, I used to have things like, as I hear scratching underneath my bed at night.
Probably Bob.
Very clever. But there was like no space for anything under the bed, or like my radio would retune and things like that. But I think apparently it's quite common for teenage girls. That's who poltergeist activity happens with most.
With psychic sensitivity.
I think it's like premenstrual girls. So there was some kind of female energy, and this toy flew off from behind the.
I didn't realise that. I thought one of the kids had knocked it off the window. Well, there you go. There you go.
No.
We have Maria Joao.
It was also wedged in, so you'd have had to scoop your hand behind it.
The plot thickens. Okay, we have Maria Joao who's ready to join us. Before we go and talk to Maria Joao, which we always enjoy, a few people I'd like to say hello to this morning who we've not said hello to yet, or as yet. OLP is here. Bon dia, lovely gumpers. Our home in northern Montana is minus 24 with a
Oh,
wind
wow.
chill of minus 50. That is cold.
Yikes.
There are many card games designed to provoke and deepen conversations for children, families, adults. The idea with many is to replace technology at the dinner table. But can you imagine when playing cards came out? People said, "Tip, look at that! I bet that takes over the dinner table at some point, and people won't be
Like
talking to
Trivial
each other."
Pursuit.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for that, James. Mariam Razai saying hello and then giving us, is it a sign? 5 squares. Are you seeing this on the screen?
Yeah, I am actually. Hello.
Spooky 5 squares. And Anna G. Bon dia, good morning. Greetings from Austria. Very cold here. Wish you both a nice holiday. Thank you, Anna G. Perhaps you could be our Austrian correspondent. I'm looking for European correspondents all over Europe, funnily enough.
Yeah.
So maybe you are that person in Austria. We've got Barbara in Poland.
Hey.
Stuart, perhaps, if I've not spoken to him yet, but Stuart in Spain. We've got people, we've got the network is growing.
That sounds fantastic.
Sarah's here as well. Good morning to you. And that guy who we were talking about before. You won't believe what we were saying about you before, Lord Gilchrist. And I still haven't guessed the mystery identity of the person who with whom I share fond Sheffield memories. Oh dear, he's got man flu.
Oh no.
Poor love. Somebody mop that man's brow as we give a nice round of applause to Maria as well. Silva joining us on the screen.
Hi, good morning.
Boas festas, how are you, Maria?
Boas festas, very sleepy today.
Are you? Have you been busy? I mean, this is what goes on, isn't it? We think we'll have a nice, peaceful Christmas and we'll relax our way to the big day. It never happens, does it? Things get intense and crazy. Is that what's been happening for you?
Kind of. And it was my son's birthday yesterday. So it was nonstop.
Oh, good. In a good way, I hope. So, yes.
Yes. Thank you. Obrigada.
I saw your lovely message on Facebook to him. It was very beautiful, very loving.
I love that clip of him presenting something about, was it astrophysics or something?
Yeah, it was I think it was a launch of a rocket, probably.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. That's definitely a proud mama moment.
Yeah.
My son launching.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, but that happens like every day. It's his thing. He does that every day. Live streams. Yeah.
Incredible.
When he was 4 years old, he wanted to have a propulsor so he could launch a rocket at 4 years age.
Wow. So do you think will he go on to work in rocket science, we think?
For sure, yeah.
Right, that's his thing. Isn't it lovely when somebody knows what they want to do from a very early age? I'm still working.
I know.
Yeah.
You are?
I am. Yeah, I haven't figured it out yet. But I love it when I hear of people who know from a very early age, from being a child, this is what they want to bring to the world and what they want to do in life. And I'm sure you've nurtured that. For people who don't know you, Maria, you are, of course, a great advocate of child-centered education. No telling the children what to do. The children tell us what they're going to be and what impact they're going to have on the world. I think in how you write and how you speak about children's rights and basically, how we might honor children more, which we love and appreciate about you, and why we love talking to you every month. No, definitely. And now's the time, I think, as we look at all of the it would appear the systems, the established systems of the world breaking down in some way or be under pressure and strain. It's fantastic to have people around with progressive and new ideas like yourself.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
For sure. And on a more prosaic note, we wanted to find out about Christmas from Indie Portugal Thursday. Excuse me a minute. My man flu isn't quite finished.
We're all like suffering a little bit.
Yeah,
I can't.
Really?
I'm sat here with my mouth open, like I'm
trying to breathe.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my god! Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
We're working our way through, aren't we? Just like Andy is in the capital. Yeah, we were hoping you might be able to help us a little bit with, and as you do, you know, we've got you down here on Indie Thursday, and you give us a different look at Portuguese life, not what we're going to see on the tourist guides or on websites where it's very sort of traditional and sometimes predictable. We're hoping to get a bit of information from you this morning about the other side of Portuguese life. Is that a rocket being launched?
No,
Not this
not
morning.
really.
Bit early for that. Okay. So what do you think? What did you think of my question to you? You know, like, you know, what don't we know about Christmas that you as an authentic, real Portuguese person might tell us? And the other part of it is how us expats, foreigners, immigrants here, can help out with people who are struggling at this time of year in Portugal. You know, we might not know how to connect with society in such a way that we could be helpful. So some of that will be wonderful from you this morning.
That's a great question. That's a great question. About Portugal, that's not the Christmas in Portugal. That is not on the tourist guides.
Yes.
You mean things that we do, traditions? How
Yes,
does it
well, anything.
happen?
Yeah, anything really that we might not be aware of. I always
Okay.
associate you with that.
You do.
The other side of life in Portugal that you know you might not find out about.
Well, we have it. We have some traditions. For example, in the usually people that are not vegan or vegetarian have the tradition of eating codfish on the
Yes.
24th. You know
Yeah.
that?
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, with
Yes.
potatoes and chickpeas and eggs and cabbage and carrots.
It's the
That's
boiled version, isn't it? It sounds really unappetizing when it's described to you. It's the boiled bacalhau with the boiled potatoes and a boiled
yes,
cabbage and a boiled carrot.
yes.
And then
With a little bit of olive oil, it's
yes.
so delicious. Yes, it's
Yes,
amazing.
right. It doesn't sound it, but when I've talked to Portuguese people before, we had our expats Portugal Christmas quiz last Thursday, and I was describing this and thinking that doesn't actually sound very appetizing. But then I was looking at the faces of our Portuguese friends and guests, and they were like they had big smiles on their faces, like they remember grandma cooking it for them, you know,
Yeah.
for Christmas Eve, or mum cooking it, and it is truly food of the heart, isn't it? If not,
It
if not,
is. It
not for
is.
the eye.
Yeah, and it's delicious.
Yeah, yeah.
Although today people are starting to do other versions of that, maybe in the oven or fried, because not everybody likes it boiled.
Yes.
So yeah, people are starting in some families to do that. And
Okay.
then the next day we eat turkey.
Right. Peru.
Non-vegetarians, so carnivores, people that eat meat,
Yes.
or a roll of pork. That's the tradition here in Portugal.
Okay.
Codfish on the 24th, and on the 25th at lunch, we eat turkey, roasted turkey, or that. And in some houses they eat lamb also.
Okay. Yeah, you don't often see lamb on the
Yeah.
menus of Portugal. Okay. So meaty then for sure for Christmas lunch. You mentioned vegans and vegetarians. Would you say that's a growing movement? And how are Portuguese grandparents and parents coping with their children becoming vegans and vegetarians? Is that a phenomenon here?
Yeah, it is, and it's growing.
Yeah.
I can give you my example. I was never. I grew up eating meat. Now I don't eat meat, but I grew up eating meat, and we had, animals that we grew. How do you say that in English? Oh my God, I
Oh,
don't remember.
you reared your own animals basically on the farm kind of thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Um. So but I was never a big meat fan, and I was always like, "Oh, I'm not gonna eat that because animals are my friends," and I would
Yes.
play with the rabbits, and you know. But so I was in my family. I was very well accepted as a potential vegan or vegetarian. Yes.
Wow.
I think people are more open to that idea
Yeah,
in
I agree.
families today. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And
And
sorry, go on.
because kids are very, activists about that when they go that way, that in that direction. So parents really respect that, and I believe that in certain families, the eating habits are changing, and even on Christmas, they are adapting. Families are adapting now to the kids that don't like meat, and they give them, different, not only meat or fish based meals on Christmas, but also vegetarian and vegan meals also.
And that's quite a change, isn't it, in a few
It is. It
decades?
is.
You know,
Yes.
from what you're talking about, which we might
Mhm.
associate more, I suppose, with central Portugal and northern Portugal. The idea that a family might be rearing and slaughtering its own animals for the Christmas table,
I know.
that seems quite traditional and old-fashioned. And in a short space of
Yes,
time, really historically, we now have youngsters who might feel more and more uncomfortable with that.
that's
Granddad,
true.
grandma and granddad, not at all uncomfortable with that, and in many ways upholding a tradition that a lot of newcomers and immigrants might like to understand and preserve. But I think for the cutting edge of young Portuguese, that might seem like quite an old-fashioned and traditional idea, and they might be having a nut cutlet or something like that. What? I mean, for me, that's one of the problems with eating vegan and vegetarian at Christmas is you tend to get a kind of vegan or vegetarian cliche on the plate. What would you say would be the most or a different sort of offering on Christmas Day for vegans or vegetarians that we might bring together as having Portuguese flavors and influences and honoring those sorts of choices on Christmas Day?
Imagine if we take the oh my gosh, I'm so sleepy. I'm so sorry.
I think we all are. Don't worry. We, let's just relax and take it easy. We'll
Yeah.
get through this.
For example, you can take the codfish meal, you
Yes.
see, and take out the codfish, for example, and you still have the chickpeas and the eggs and the cabbage and the carrots. So that's and the egg. I said egg also. I already said egg, didn't I?
You might have
I
done.
think I did.
I was researching nut cutlets online just so that the OLP can find out what that is. And I don't think when you see this picture of nut cutlets, I don't think many people. This is what I'm trying to get away from here. Look, this is what a nut
Let me
cutlet looks
see.
like. It is basically vegetarian things all kind of melged together as a risotto.
Oh,
And nothing I'm saying, although actually it does
oh
look quite
no.
quite Portuguese in a funny sort of like a petisco or
Oh,
those
pastel
sorts
de
of things.
bacalhau,
Yeah, but
like
it does. I mean,
pastel.
yeah, exactly. Yes, the research kind of vibe going on with these.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
When you're looking forward to something magnificent on the plate on Christmas Day,
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid
Mm-hmm.
that's not it. That's not it. So I
That's
think
true.
the year before
I
last,
agree.
I did a mushroom Wellington to try and make it look a bit special on the plate. But I am honestly seeking inspiration from our community this morning as well.
Mm-hmm.
And who doesn't like a nut cutlet first thing in the morning? It would appear not many people like a nut cutlet at any time of the day or night with that. We
Yeah.
do have some comments coming in that you've inspired here, Maria Joao, but what kids want to do when they're growing up, as well as bacalhau, of course. Um, what's this energy saying? I'm Portuguese. I moved a few years ago to Austria. It's cold at the moment and snow. Missed the morning walks at the beach in Portugal. Okay, we'll come back to that about what people might do on a Portuguese Christmas
Yeah.
day.
Oh,
Mark,
yeah.
the family walk by the sound of it. My parents told me to be realistic when I told them when I grow up I want to be a fire truck. Well, I certainly hope they didn't pee on your chips as a child and try and encourage you out of that. I'm sure you'd agree with this as well, Maria. Children crave encouragement, enthusiasm, motivation, and interesting subjects,
That is so
and then we
true.
send them to school. We all remember the best teacher we had. That's so true. Absolutely right. And traditional Papa Kavakas in Aveiro in the new year. Details on the Gumper map. And I will put in the link to the Gumper map where Andy's been working hard, sharing things with you. Do you know what that is, Maria? Can you tell us what Papa
I know, I
is?
know what Cavacas is, because my grandparents were from a small town near Aveiro.
Okay.
So I've heard about Cavacas, but I gotta tell you that I don't remember the aspect of it. But I remember that we had them in the house every Christmas when we went there.
Oh, I've got pictures. I've got pictures to bring some memories back for you. So Papa
Yeah.
Kavakas. I thought it was something to do with cows, as in vacas. But
Yeah,
no,
Cavacas, it's like a sweet. I think it's a sweet with sugar,
it sure is. Here we go.
like this big.
Get in. Look at those.
Yes, that's it. That's
It's
it.
got, it's got,
Yes,
it's got
with
like
lots of sugar.
lots of sugar drizzled with a kind of icing glaze. They look
Yeah.
fantastic.
Oh my God, the flavor is coming to me. Yes, it is. That's true.
Yes,
It's true. It's
yes,
true.
yeah. Brilliant. Lovely memories then.
Yes.
Bacalhau cozida, that's the one, isn't it? That's the boiled
Yes.
one for Christmas Eve. Looks bland as hell, but is really very tasty. So don't
It
knock it
is.
until
It
you've tried
is.
it. Traditional New Year's Day, 3 baths in Barra, also on the Gumper map. Thank you. And eating raisins at New Year. So these are
Oh
things.
yeah.
What's he talking about there, Maria?
The raisins. The
Yeah.
raisins.
Yes.
We have the tradition. You don't have that in England. We have the tradition of
Toasties.
the New Year's Eve.
Yes.
We take 12 raisins, which for some people is a lot. 12
Yes.
raisins, and you get yourself up on a bench or a chair.
Yes.
And when the midnight strikes, you eat the 12 raisins, and for each raisin you make a wish for the New Year's.
Yes. Okay. Very good. So for each of the months, I guess,
Yes, yes.
symbolically, and as you say,
Yeah.
12 raisins for somebody who doesn't like
It's
raisins
it's very much, yes.
would be pretty awful. Okay, and we should do that at midnight on New Year's Eve,
Yeah.
should we?
Yeah.
Thank you
Yes.
for that. Not you won't be throwing raisins off the church roof. I think that's a bread product. We'll find out more about
Oh,
that as
I
well.
didn't know that one.
Oh, that's good. Okay, well, we've shared something with you this morning. I'm glad to say.
Yeah.
Bon dia, mi amigo, benvindo. I think he's talking to Joao F, who's joining us. You may want to chip in as well with a few more insider guide to Portuguese Christmas tips for us this morning. What are the traditions around gift giving? Thank you, Maria. Maybe you can help with this. What are the traditions around gift giving to, for instance, neighbors, teachers, school bus drivers, helpers? Also, traditionally, what is always given to children. In the UK, the Christmas stocking or pillowcase usually has some staples, an orange, some snacks. I think that's a typo. I don't ever remember being given staples at Christmas. Maybe in the Christmas pudding, but not in the pillowcase. Some snacks, chocolate, a book, etc., plus small toys. Is this similar in Portugal? And also, does Santa bring large gifts, or are they from the family? This is really good. We need to break this down. So I think the first bit is tipping or rewarding public workers. So sometimes in when I was a postman in the UK, the homeowners might give you a little Christmas box or present.
Wow.
The garbage guys might get a Christmas present as well. Does that happen in Portugal? Do you tip public service workers like that?
I don't think we do now.
Okay.
No, we do to teachers when children are in kindergarten, when they step into after the primary school. I don't think we continue giving gifts, but when they are very little and they go into preschool, we have the tradition of offering the teachers a gift for
Okay.
Christmas. Yes.
So that could go
And
down well with for parents with kids in school here. A
yeah.
little gift of some kind of a token of appreciation and affection for teachers would work, but not necessarily for your postman or dustman or garbage collector.
No, but that is a beautiful tradition, but we don't have that one here now.
Okay. Well, it's the same with tipping in restaurants, isn't it? It's not the normal thing, is it? To tip. Although What about at Christmas? Because sometimes you'll see a collection box on the counter in a cafe or a restaurant with Felicia Natal written on it.
That's true.
So whilst you might not tip, generally speaking, throughout the year, and people might not expect that, at Christmas time, maybe roll up a note and stuff it in there.
Maybe it's not something that I can say that it's a tradition to contribute or to give a tip. Yeah,
Okay.
I would say that randomly happens, but it's not a tradition. No, we don't have that engraved in our culture. Like for
Okay.
example, in America, I don't know in England if you have that
We're somewhere
habit.
in between, I think. I mean, Americans
Yeah,
certainly a tipping culture, isn't it?
yeah,
And
no, we're not.
some people's working lives are premised on receiving tips, even
I
in
know.
America, but certainly not the case here in Portugal, which is difficult for Americans to get their head round. And I think a lot of Americans feel mean and that they haven't really completed on the whole dining experience unless they've rewarded their server
Yes,
with a nice tip,
yes,
but not
yes.
required here. So, okay, the next part of Fiona's question then, what also traditionally what is always given to children? So there might be, as well as your presents, there might be a Christmas stocking with little what are called stocking fillers and small toys and gifts. How is that working in Portugal? Is the assumption made that Santa's bringing these things, or is it obvious that the parents are giving the present? And is it one big present or a couple of big presents, or is it loads? Is there an utter indulgence going on?
Well, it kind of depends. I can give you my experience, and I know, and some of my friends' experiences. But what we used to have was something very interesting because the stocking we just adopted a few years ago, not a couple, a
Oh,
bit
right.
more
Okay.
than a couple, because we didn't have the tradition of the stocking. What we have, not now because it's being lost a little bit. We used to put one of our shoe on the chimney of our house. It was the Menino Jesus shoe for Menino Jesus to bring the. We didn't used to have Santa. It was the Menino Jesus,
Okay.
baby
I don't
Jesus
know.
that would bring us the gifts,
Oh, okay.
and we would put one of our shoe in our chimney on the because we have those stoves. We used to have those stoves that we put under the old kitchens
Yes.
had like a
Yes.
big
And it
chimney.
yeah, a walk-in fireplace almost.
Yes, but in
Yes.
the
Yeah.
kitchen, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So we would put the shoe there, and then for example, if grandmother would live near us or our aunt, we would take another shoe and put in their house. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
that's
so it'll yes, it's beautiful,
that is very lovely.
and it is.
And what would end up in the shoe then?
It would end up the Christmas gifts.
Okay.
We didn't put the Christmas gifts on the Christmas tree. I don't have that image growing up. I
Okay.
have the image of growing up with the gifts, one in the shoe, the other one around the shoe, and then on the floor near the oven.
Yes.
Yeah, in the kitchen, the
Oh, how
gifts
lovely.
there.
I've
Yes,
never heard of that. So baby Jesus would be offering the gifts, and,
yes. We would put the shoe for
yeah,
baby Jesus to bring Menino Jesus. It's not baby. It's
child
well, we
Jesus.
don't have a. Yes, like Menino. How do you say Menino Jesus in English? You don't have that expression, do
I
you?
think the closest we have it probably is baby Jesus, but
Baby Jesus. Yes.
the
Yeah.
child, the Jesus, the child, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Incredible. Well, that's the
Yeah.
fantastic to discover today. So there you go, Fiona. Maybe we can carry on that tradition as newcomers.
Oh, that would be beautiful. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, that's amazing. Because
And what?
that's losing ground now.
Okay.
Kids
Yes.
don't do that anymore.
Yeah, and it's a homogenization of global culture, isn't it? The globalization of Christmas, if you
Yeah.
like. You know, the most
Yeah.
popular signs, totems, or whatever customs tend to dominate. So
That's true.
the and sorry, remind me. So you would be it would be your own shoe that you're expecting to receive a gift
Yes, yes. And it would be very exciting to take your the the ritual of putting the
Yes.
shoe on top of the stove.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I remember it so well. It was like the whole anticipation of Christmas would be
Sure.
in that movement of putting the shoe on the stove.
And of
Yes.
course, as I understand it, Portuguese people are exchanging presents on Christmas Eve.
Hmm.
So is this instead
Some.
of that? So this would be instead of that. This would be you go to bed, you put your shoe out and go to bed
Mhm.
and anticipate presents on Christmas Day when you get up.
Yes, and in the morning when you woke up at like 6 a.m., all excited,
Yes,
the
yes.
presents would all be there like
By
magic.
in or by the shoe. Mrs.
Yes,
M
by the
says,
shoe on the floor.
lovely. I can't wait to
Yeah.
share that with her. That's fantastic. So I think that answers Fiona's question there. Um, I'm not buying you some new shoes. No, that is not the tradition. Okay. Kavakas, is it beef? I guess it might have some beef dripping in there.
Oh no
No,
no
no,
no!
not
Cavacas is a sweet. Is a sweet.
okay.
It's made with flour and sugar,
No beef
and I don't
fat.
know. No. There's no beef at all. It's a dessert.
Keep your beef away from my Kavakush. Okay. Looks like
Yes.
testes. That's not the best review of Kavakush. Looks like testes. They queue down the street our local locale place at Christmas, all taking away packages of delicious suckling piglet. Yum. For those fans of the suckling pig there, which is obviously very popular in Portugal, especially over Andes way, actually, in the Bairrada
Yeah.
district. That's big, the suckling pig
Mhm.
over that way. And the 12 raisins we've talked about. You're chucking things off the roof of the church. That might be the kavakush, and I've heard of this tradition of throwing bread to the poor from the roof of the church, which sounds a little bit aggressive in
Oh.
some ways. We're not coming down there with you poor people, but here's some old bread and just chuck it down. Now, on that note,
Yeah.
when we were corresponding before, Maria, coming to Portugal,
Mhm.
being a foreigner, being an immigrant, and wanting to get involved, and at Christmas time, you think, okay, I'm going to have a great time myself, and you may. Some people might think of others less fortunate themselves. How do you get involved in helping people who might not be having such a good Christmas here in Portugal? Food banks we've talked about before, and that's one way, isn't it? And I know that's a tried and trusted way. And in a supermarket, you might occasionally be given a bag as you walk in to buy some extra stuff for people who can't afford so much
Yes.
at this time of year or
Mhm.
in a vulnerable position. How can
Mhm.
foreigners get involved and do more within their local culture?
Well, we have a very strong. It's kind of a tradition. Let's put it this way. In churches, for example, we offer our clothes use anymore,
Okay.
and we can. That's one thing that we can do to offer our clothes in local churches, for example, because then they distribute for by the people that need the clothes, for example. One other thing that happens, but I think this requires a lot of logistics, is, for example, near institutions that have children that, for example, are orphans.
Yeah.
But I know this requires logistics. You
Yeah.
can work your way through to bring one of the children or siblings home to spend Christmas evening with you.
Oh wow.
And the Christmas Day, yes. It takes some logistics, but there are some institutions that have children, orphan children, that you know that go there, and it has lots of bureaucracy and things that they have to go through. But people that really
Understandably,
want
yeah.
to bring a child home
Yes.
can do that and make a child's Christmas a little, you know, more joyous.
That's very
That's
moving.
the things
Wow.
that I know that to do. Yes,
Yeah, okay. So that
yes,
maybe that's more advanced in your later years here, because that's going to take a bit of a run up bureaucratically. But at the very least, if you've ever wondered when you're in a supermarket why the scouts might be there offering you an extra plastic bag or paper bag. It is to put some staples, and we'll come back to staples in just a minute, but some milk, rice, some basics in there. And you take the bag, you buy the shopping, and then you give them the bag back, don't you, on your way out of the supermarket? And that means that some people who might not have so much this year and this particular time in history will get a little bit more at Christmas time. So worth doing. And the rupa thing there you're talking about, that's why there are those clothes recycling points, right, by churches, I think, Maria. Traditionally, you'd have probably
Yes.
taken the things
Yes.
inside the church, but often you will
Oh,
see a
yes, you
clothes
do.
recycling point, right? There's a clothes recycling skip almost, and that would be a useful thing to
I
do as
know.
well, as instead of chucking your old clothes away or wondering what on earth to do with them or just hoarding them, they can be given a new life for people by taking them to the rupa, rupa, right? That's what you'll see written on the side of the clothes recycling.
Oh, I don't
I
know the
just want,
name, but I know what you're talking about. Although,
yeah, you
yeah.
go on. Sorry, I was just talking to Mrs. M.
Although in my case, no, it's okay. I don't put anything in those boxes because I know that in churches, when you deliver in churches, I know where they go. You know,
Okay.
for example, there was a year that I went to GMP, which is an institution that takes moms that are that are moms at a very young age and
Yeah.
don't have any place to go, so they live there in that institution. And I took lots of things for babies, for from milk to diapers and everything, and I took it there to the institution and I delivered it personally in person. So that way
Okay.
you know where the things really go to, you
Good
know.
point. Good point.
Yeah.
And
And
whatever
some people do it. Yeah.
I guess whatever people's feelings are
Sorry?
religiously, whatever people's feelings are, in terms of their sort of religious positioning, if you
Oh
like,
yeah.
the church
Mm-hmm.
remains a solid focal point for a community in Portugal, right? So that will be a good place to go introduce yourself
That's true.
and see what you can do.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay,
Doesn't
that's
matter
that.
if you're a Catholic or not. You just
Yeah,
go there, for example, with books or with food, and you just go there and say, I want to do this, and they will give everything, and then they distribute for
that's
all that
superb.
need.
That's superb. Thank you. That's a really good start for anybody who wants to get involved
Yeah.
and help people less fortunate themselves at Christmas. And at the same time, get to know their local community as well. That's fantastic. Thank you, Maria. I know you've got to go soon. I just want to share with you a few more comments that have been coming in. Staples, not as in small pieces of
Sure.
metal, but the staples as in the everyday necessities. Thank you for clarifying
Oh,
that. Uh, I get the idea of 12 raisins and making wishes,
okay.
but what does standing on the chair do, Maria? I think the rest of the family might look askance, what a lovely word, if I suddenly stood up on a chair. Why on the chair, Maria?
Because I think it's to elevate
Yes.
you and to
Yeah,
make those dreams even more dreams that you are eating the raisins for. Like sitting on top of the world, it's what it symbolizes.
yes.
So if you eat them there on top of a chair or the chair or the table or whatever, um, it symbolizes you being, elevated in order for those dreams to come true in a
Got it.
way, I
Yeah,
think.
makes sense. Why do Portuguese want to open their presents at midnight on the 24th? We're asking you to answer for the whole country now.
Because in some houses, when I was growing up, it was a tradition for most families. I can say that, I think, to open the presents on the 25th. But then it started coming in some families. For example, in my son's dad side of the family, they opened the presents on the 24th because Christmas, Santa comes to the house on the 24th.
Okay.
Someone dresses up like Santa and comes from the somewhere in the house and makes the it's beautiful to watch. And they don't stop even when you grow up. Santa keeps coming every um, Christmas Eve on that side of the family. So they open the presents on the 24th.
Superb. There you go.
So,
Thank you very much.
you know, it really depends on the family. And sometimes,
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
got that. And that of course working in conjunction with the other tradition you introduced us to this morning of leaving the shoe, upon which Andrew's made a very good comment. You know what they say about Portuguese with big feet? They get lots of presents, of course. There. So, Mrs. M, you leave your shoe in the Inglenook fireplace in the kitchen, and the child Jesus brings the presents and leaves them by your shoe.
Really?
I think we should incorporate that. Not that we've got an Inglenook fireplace in the kitchen, but
Well, I do
we'll
have a pair of
improvise.
knee-high boots.
A pair of knee-high boots, which you would like filled. Okay.
Yes, please.
All right, Maria, you have enlightened us with some of your holiday traditions. Thank you so much. And
thank you.
on a chair, you're closer to God. That could be another explanation, couldn't it? Why people stand on chairs.
Yeah.
And Kavakas look like, they're hard meringues that are sugar coated. And yes, and you're quite right. We should look at the map, and I will do that before the show's out today after we finish speaking to Maria here. Kavakas are like hard meringues, and they look like they would taste and chew like donuts, pastry.
Yes.
Nothing to do with nuts. My mouth is watering at the thought of those. I've seen young people at grocery stores collecting food items to distribute to people in need. Yes, that's what I was talking about before as well there. So, Maria, thank you so much. We have been so delighted to make your acquaintance this year. And thank you for being...
Thank you. It's mutual.
And you write children's books. Is it too late to buy one of your children's books as a present for a child here in Portugal?
To deliver on Christmas?
Well, maybe. Or is there a bookshop or an online service where we can get your books?
Oh yeah.
So give us the link for that if you will. Hold on a minute. Let me just give you the full screen there. Could you hold it up again? Well, what a lovely gift this would be, not just for kids, but some of the adults here whose Portuguese is a child
learn
level.
Portuguese.
Yeah,
to learn Portuguese is amazing.
How do we find these?
You can send me a message on Facebook, and I will direct you, or you can send an email. At this moment, this is available in my publishing house, which is the email is hello1313 in numbers.
Yeah.
pub sorry at gmail.com. hello1313 pub at gmail.com, and you can order there.
Okay, I'm just putting that together now inside the chat so that people can find you that way. I guess before Christmas might be pushing it a bit with the postal service, but certainly a nice present for the new year. And if you're committing yourself to learning more Portuguese, what a great way to do it. So for children and adults alike, just confirm for us before you go, if you will, Maria, that this is right. hello1313pub@gmail.com.
Oh yes, that's it.
Fantastic.
That's it.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Boas festas. Bom ano novo.
Me too. Boas festas. Beijinhos.
Ciao. There she
Ciao.
goes.
Obrigada.
Thank you very much indeed. There she goes. And that is the email address, folks, to get Maria João Silva's books. MJ Silva, her own nom de plume. And nom de plume is here. So we've gone from Minge to whatever it was yesterday to Inglenook. Inglenook and Minge could be quite interchangeable, couldn't they? Besides a bookstore in the Bay Area in California, Inglenook. Hello, Sol. Are you waving to Uncle Frank? He'll be here tomorrow. Uncle Frank's joining us tomorrow.
And boners. You're talking about boners.
Yeah, no, this is not Sarah's nom de plumes asking us about words. What
they
mean. Do you remember she asked us yesterday?
Right, yes.
What was the word yesterday she was asking about? Taking the mickey. That's right.
Yeah.
We're going to have to create our own phrase book, especially for nom de plume, I think, here. And thank you. Yes, that was from João F for helping enlighten the community members about our Christmas traditions. That was a new one on me, the shoe in the fireplace.
I think I've heard of that in another European country. I don't think it's just a Portuguese tradition.
Well, it's not unlike the idea of stockings, is it?
No,
You know,
exactly.
a some sort of receptacle to fill up with
Yeah.
presents and so on. But the fact that the baby Jesus brings the presents in Portugal rather than Father Christmas, I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Maria, as well. Sorry I didn't get to this before Maria left us. Thank you, Maria. Felicia Natal. That coffee you made me has got a little bit of added medicinal benefit, I
does,
think,
yeah.
hasn't it? Okay. Thank you for yesterday, Carl. I had a lot of fun, and thanks for the great company and hospitality from yourself and Mrs. M.
Gary?
Our pleasure
And Linda?
from the great Garvo there.
Yes, you're very welcome anytime.
And so who'll be eating 12 raisins and standing on a chair this
I liked
new year? No, you know about
Victoria's
that.
comment. She's going to drink her raisins.
What, fizzy?
Yeah.
Her grapes will be fizzy. That doesn't
Yes.
surprise us there, Victoria. And the other question I was asking, as well as finding out the insider's guide, you know, proper Portuguese people talking about their proper Portuguese Christmas. What's possible for 2023? We're not talking resolutions. We don't want to set you up for failure. But what is anything is possible. What have you got in mind, dear Gumpers, for 2023 and anything that you might want to share? What about you, Mrs. M? What are you thinking
Do you
possibilities
know
for
what?
2023?
I want to ask you a level 3 super effing real card.
Go on.
And I'm going to tie it into 2023 for you.
Yeah.
What do you think drives me in life? And how can we incorporate that into 2023?
What drives you?
Yeah.
Love drives you.
Oh, yeah.
And how can we incorporate that into 2023? By making lots of it. I think I aced that.
There's a nudge card coming up as well.
What is that?
Just in case
Love
things
you, man.
get a bit difficult.
Yes. Well, I think you hold these up while your brothers are answering the questions.
I love you, man.
I love you, man.
I love you, man.
Yeah. And,
Okay.
there's the other cards that dig deeper. So if your bros are thinking that you're
Ooh.
like copping out of it with a
Yeah,
they
that's
just
so
hold
good.
up the dig deeper question.
No, I mean, in all fairness, what was your question again? Was it like what we're going to do in 2023?
Yeah. What's possible? And this is the distinction between making resolutions and doing what Big Phil talks about, which is having an intention and taking baby steps towards it. That's what I'm talking about. What are our possibilities for 2023?
Do you know what?
We've had a couple of challenging years, haven't we, as humanity? You know,
I thought you meant as us.
well, included. And you know, one could do well to remember that the canvas of the new year is blank, open, and huge, and we can live in those glorious possibilities rather than just eking out a quiet existence in the face of a global recession.
I would have a couple of things to add. The first thing is not to put all of your
Kavakush
energies.
in one basket.
Yeah, and they're horrible, by the way.
You're not keen on Kavakush?
No, we've had those before.
Is that why they throw them from the roof? Because no one actually likes them.
They make really good weapons.
That's
they're not that tasty, I don't think.
But well done for not saying that while our company was here.
No, I think like don't put all of your sort of energy into like this intention working out, you know, because you make it on New Year's Day. I think if you know, just give yourself a day off and then get back on it. Like I think reviewing and assessing if you're on the right track is more important as a habit.
Yeah.
So you know, like what I would love to see for us in 2023 is that we are bolder. In
bolder, I'll be bolder for sure.
I might be too, but bolder, in terms of following our goals, because it's very easy to think, you know, we need to play it safe so that we have an easy life or an easier life, and that I don't know. I think sometimes people play it safe, and I know we have been playing it safe in terms of, you know, we don't want to risk things. But I think actually what we've noticed in this last 6 months is as we've been a lot more real about what we want, even though it's risky, it's more enjoyable as our journey.
Yeah.
So I'd like us to keep taking risks.
Yes. Well said.
Really, really follow what is in our hearts.
Right.
And if we fall off our path, it's obviously, you know, rather than berating ourselves, just say, you know what, that obviously wasn't quite right.
What's still possible?
Yeah, so what is still possible, and do we need to tweak this a little bit? And
who doesn't like a tweak?
First thing in the morning,
yeah. Okay.
So I just think, you know, just keep monitoring and thinking to yourself. Here's a good one. Every day, just think, am I still on track? If not, How not? Why not? Let's go.
And what is my track? And
Yeah. And why do I even need a track?
How big can this be?
Yeah.
How big
I
and
mean,
how
we
amazing
could
can this
we
be?
could just say every day, let's recreate our track from scratch.
Yes, yeah. And you find out if what's real for you that way as well,
Yeah,
don't you?
definitely.
But please, I wish you the biggest and best. I'm talking like this is the last show of the year. Tomorrow is the last show of the year. And we will have a party tomorrow with Uncle Frank and Auntie Emma. It sounds like visiting relatives already, doesn't it?
Sounds great.
We'll have a lot of fun
Sounds like
tomorrow.
my childhood, actually, because we just had loads of aunties and uncles that
Bring
weren't
some
really
booze
aunties
tomorrow.
and uncles.
Bring booze tomorrow,
Oh,
yeah?
what a nice invitation.
Yeah, and we might hang out a little bit after the show as well.
Haven't you
or
got
join the show.
aren't you taking people on a tour tomorrow?
I am, but
So
I'm
maybe
sure
not
they'll be.
booze
I'm
for you.
sure they'll be fine if I turn up drunk. Rock and roll, 70s style.
No.
Okay, Inglenook is a large medieval fireplace. Every home should have one, with space at the sides to store wood or bake bread. It's kind of walk-in stuff. Now, we have lived in houses in Portugal where you could walk into the fireplace. You remember that kitchen in Korea?
Yes.
I loved that fireplace, and I could imagine people putting shoes in there and cooking fish over the years, but not at the same time, obviously,
Yeah.
for hygiene's sake. In Iceland, we also use the shoe. There you go. And 13 days before Christmas, the Julads, pranksters and sons of trolls, fill the shoes with treats for the good kids, and obviously rotten potatoes for the bad kids. Lovely.
Yikes,
Thank
that
you,
would
Baddy
really smell
Kabori.
bad.
Yeah, an old shoe with a rotten potato in it. And when you're in a hurry, just put it on. You're only limited by the limits of your own imagination. Can't remember who said it. You just did, Garvo. And level 3, try just saying I love you man to man and leave out the man. That's an interesting point, isn't it? Men do add these things, I think, to kind of, maybe buffer the full intention and not to be too soppy. Yeah. Or I love you. I love you. It's much more powerful, runs deeper. Cheers for that, James, for that intervention. And Lord Gilchrist, you are only constrained by your boundaries.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are, it's true. Be free in 23. Look at it. We're talking. This is a spirit, isn't it? Be free in 23. What is Louisa wearing? I need a close up.
It's a good question.
She's red and sparkly. Mind you don't get a rash on your neck.
Yes, that's a good point. It's actually not very comfortable. All I'm wearing is a load of tinsel around my neck and then a green.
I think I prefer a soft Santa hat. So some
scratchy
old tinsel.
I was looking for the old Spider-Man.
I used it on an earlier engagement with the Spider-Man thing. I must have tidied it away, mustn't I? Okay, dad jokes to finish with it then this morning. Thank you for being with us on this rather sleepy and leisurely edition. Oh, we can't go anywhere until we've shown you the Gumper map.
And have you got another advent calendar entry?
Thank you for exposing the fact that I haven't got another.
Oh, I didn't realise. Sorry.
Please, we need your Christmas videos from all over the world for our last 4 advent calendar entries. They are. Do
you know what? It'd be lovely. It'd be lovely to play them all back to back right at the end of tomorrow's show.
Do you think I should make an entire video of them?
Yes.
Another thing for my Christmas to-do list.
It'd be really lovely.
On your screen, you will see the Gumper map. This is amazing work by Randy. Show the blimmin' map.
Sorry,
you're absolutely right. No, don't worry. Now I'm going to zoom out so you get a sense of all the lovely events, meetups, Gumper points of interest on the map created by Sarah Yerman for us. And actually, let me just look at all of Europe. Did you know I was quite interested in all of Europe, Mrs. M? Okay, and let's zoom back in. Look at Europe there. Look at all of it in its glory there.
Yeah. Can you imagine what it would be like if we get like all these Gumper meetups all over
across Europe?
Yeah.
Look at that. Look, and there's a very good focus in the Aveiro area where Bairandi reigns supreme as the top poster. And you'll see on his events list here to the left of the screen, free workout, Christmas in Agada, Christmas in Melhada, Christmas in Anadia. There's all memories for us, right?
Yeah,
Cantanheda, Christmas in Vagos, Aveiro, Coimbra, New Year's Eve party. So many wonderful things here. New Year's swim at Barra. This is fantastic, and certainly some chucking of cavacos off roofs as well at certain points, I'm sure, involved here. You've been so busy, and we so appreciate you, Andy, for all the lovely work you've done on this map. Please, folks, add your meetups, add your events, add your Gumper points of interest. This is a fantastic resource for all of the community, so do use it. Last few dad jokes.
I would also say if you're anywhere sort of in the greater Coimbra area or Aveiro, it's definitely worth checking out Agada if you've got kids who, or if you just love a giant Father Christmas.
Who doesn't? And I will put together Andy's
You almost
wonderful
cannot
pictures.
imagine how big he is. I mean, you can
It's
see
the
him
biggest.
for miles.
It's an eye-wateringly big Santa, isn't it?
Yes,
in
he's got a
Agata?
very big sack.
He has. It's a big sale.
Looks like he's sat on his nuts, doesn't it?
A big. There's a big sale at the Lego store. People are lined up for blocks.
Very
There's one
good.
for Minnie. Minnie wants Lego this
She
Christmas.
does.
Bread is a lot like the sun. It rises in the east and sets in the west.
Clever.
Good.
Mine doesn't. Mine's terrible.
Your bread is true, isn't it? Oh, I'm so glad you don't make bread anymore. I'm not being.
We could throw that at people, couldn't we?
That is the weaponization of bread, like everything else in the times that we live in.
It was another one of my fermenting like nightmares. Trying to do sourdough.
Sourdough.
I've tried it continuously. In Devon, in different houses in Devon.
In mouldy houses.
Oh,
Yeah.
and then over here, and it's never gone very well.
Yeah. Industrious Bayrada, that's where Andy is talking about. That's how he's talking about it this morning in the Bayrada. Okay, they see you when you're sleeping. They know when you're awake. They know if you've been bad or good. So be good for goodness sake. That's the NSA. NSA.
Or Facebook.
Yes, or Facebook, or
Apple.
Google, yes, or any number,
TikTok.
any number of these platforms where if it's free, you're the product.
Yes.
Folks, thank you so much. Lovely leisurely show today. Join us for the ultimate show of the year tomorrow, the climax, the rousing climax of 2022 as we go into
Speaking of climaxes,
setting ourselves free in 23. Oh, hold on. OLP, a dad joke. What does Santa use to clean his sleigh? Comet. You see, that's a cultural reference.
I think that's an
must
American
be a cleaning product.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the fastest way to make this awkward?
What's this? Are we back to the?
Yeah, this is a pretty real card.
I was going to say for people to drop their trousers or something, but guys just love doing that anyway, don't they? That's just fun. That's not awkward. I don't know. What's the quickest way to make it awkward?
What's the fastest way to make this awkward? This interaction, this show.
I honestly
this
don't
day.
know. I don't want to go. I don't want to go awkward right now. I think relationships, past pain, those sorts of things are awkward, aren't they?
Okay.
Yeah. And wasn't there at last? There was something.
There's something else that hasn't been
something.
attended to.
Oh
and that
yes,
is-
the person in Sheffield.
Yeah, and
I knew there was something.
I almost said their name then.
Yes. So who was this person? So I know.
Okay, the last.
Poochuglish. That's a good name for him.
So the initials are BN.
I don't know. Who is this person?
Okay, the first name is the same name as a spiritual teacher that you've always.
Barry.
Yes.
Barry Norman, the great Barry Norman.
Barry New.
Oh, wonderful Barry New, the Canadian, the wonderful environmentalist. He was a Green Party candidate.
Yep.
He had a wonderful shop called New Roots, I think, and he used to publish his own little pamphlets on the photocopier. Happy times in the 80s Sheffield.
Wow.
And he was a Green Party candidate, and I got invited to the election, to the vote counting, to be his adjudicator.
Well,
Barry New, bless
he
you.
stopped by yesterday's show.
Did he really?
We should actually check out.
He's a fantastic guy.
We should check out all the old shows. Maybe me going in, sitting in an old show.
It's worthwhile. It could be, couldn't it?
Maybe it's actually quite helpful.
Yes. Awkward. Carl, does this look normal? That's the awkward moment, isn't it?
Oh, when somebody
drops their trousers.
Yes.
And says, does this look normal to
Yeah.
you? Are you coming to the man cave tomorrow? That's awkward. Don't know. There's a small child crawling over my feet beneath me. See you tomorrow for the big party then. Emma Belter Williamson singing. And she's dusted down some Christmas songs to sing with us. And Uncle Frank will be with us too. See you then, friends. Have a great December the 22nd. It's the new year, isn't it?
And tomorrow is also a new moon.
And
it's
tomorrow's new moon.
It's like the solstice new moon.
What could possibly go wrong? Take care. Bye for now. Have a great day. Ciao, ciao.
So once you have a sales force that is
The right one. Okay.
That's awkward.
Take care. Have fun. Have a great day. Bye for now. I still can't find it. There we go.
In Portugal, there's a
Oh, what happened there? Oh. Oh, watch out. Somebody turn the video off. What did happen there? I got to play it again from the top.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.